Hello and welcome to this morning's Liverpool news roundup here on Anfield Agenda. My name is Conor and I'm going to take you through all of the latest Liverpool news, including more links with Antoine Semenyo. We have a quote last night from Andy Robertson. We've got a little bit around Marc Guehi and Tsimikas and a little bit around Szoboszlai as well. So please do hit the like button before we jump into it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new and let's get into the news. Let's start off with Marc Guehi then. Of course, last night we did break our exclusive that we believe Marc Guehi has given his word to Liverpool. He will be a Liverpool player. When that will be, we don't know, whether that's January or the summer, but we do, to the best of our knowledge, believe that Marc Guehi has given his word to Liverpool and that he will become a Liverpool player at some point. But that hasn't stopped the rumour mill going around, so Florian Plettenberg of Sky Sports Germany has said that Marc Guehi has emerged as a January target for Bayern Munich, and I think, in my personal opinion, I think the club would want to wait until the summer, but if they get a sniff of someone else coming in, they just have to match it. Like, if Marc Guehi wants to come to Liverpool, as we believe, and if the likes of Bayern Munich or Barcelona, whoever, come in for him in January, we have to just play our hand and just go in for him and get him in January. So look, if Bayern Munich are serious about it, then maybe it does force our hands if we see Marc Guehi come in January. Outside of that, I would imagine it's probably the summer, but like I said, if our hand gets forced, then fair enough. We have to go and rescue Marc Guehi from the clutches of other clubs and bring him to Anfield. Moving on to Antoine Semenyo then. So this story has really been heating up the last few days. Between David Ornstein confirming the release clause in his Bournemouth contract, along with other reports, it really does seem to be heating up. And we have a few reports this morning. First of all, from Fabrizio Romano, who said there is maybe 70%, maybe 60% chance that Antoine Semenyo leaves Bournemouth in the January transfer window. And that is interesting to hear because Ornstein confirmed as well that his release clause would be less in the summer. We're not sure how much less. It's probably not a huge jump. And particularly if Romano was expecting Semenyo to leave in January, it mustn't be enough to really let people wait and just save 10 million or whatever it will be. So I think there's probably a good chance he does leave in January, and I think we should be at the front of that queue. I think I would put us as favourites in all honesty. Like, other clubs are sniffing around him, like Spurs and Man United, but ultimately, like, surely he picks Liverpool over them if we do in fact want him, which I believe we do. And the only other club that could be an issue really is Arsenal, but they seem to have a lot of business they want to do themselves. They've been linked constantly with Rodrigo of Real Madrid as well, so my gut would say we do get Semenyo in January. I think Rodrigo could end up at Arsenal at some point, and yeah, I wouldn't really consider Spurs and Man United an issue in this Antoine Semenyo chase. But we do have a report around Man United and Semenyo here from The Athletic, who say Man United boss Ruben Amorim admires Antoine Semenyo, but meeting a £65 million release clause with Bournemouth would be difficult for the club to do in January. We also had a report from Duncan Castles as well, who said Amorim had dinner with Semenyo in London at the end of last season to assess his character ahead of a future move, but any move is unlikely to happen in the winter. So look, that probably rules United out in January. Spurs are still sniffing around, as I said, but ultimately, are Spurs really competition for a player like this? Like, even with Luis Diaz that time, they had a deal wrapped up for Diaz. We just came in and said, right, we'll do that. We'll give you the same money, come to us. And yeah, came to us. So I think if Spurs do make a move, I think we'll just gently nudge them to the side and get our man. But yeah, I wouldn't be considering Man United a rival in this chase at this current moment. To finish up on Semenyo then, we have a report from Team Talk who say Liverpool are ahead in the race to sign Antoine Semenyo and are ready to meet his release clause of £65 million needed to prize him away from Bournemouth. So look, if that is true, I think the club will see a lot of value in that. Like, this is a player that was being valued at 75, 80 million pounds in recent weeks, and that £65 million release clause coming to light is really, really, really encouraging to see. And it is good value for money ultimately. I think the club love a bargain. They love to see value in a deal. Like, it's always been, it's not that we have 200 million to spend. It's like, if this player is worth 10 million, I can get him for 10 million. That's good. If we can get him for 60 million when he's worth 100 million, even better. Like, it is a player by player basis, and I think the club will definitely see value in this one. So don't be surprised at all if you do see Antoine Semenyo coming to Liverpool in January, because I think it would make a lot of sense. We might have to go if other clubs are coming in for him, and yeah, I could definitely see this one happening. Moving on then to Andy Robertson, who of course did qualify for the World Cup last night with Scotland, which is fantastic to see. Got to love the Scots. I think that's a brilliant thing for them to get there. Like, they haven't been there in so long, and to see Andy Robertson leading that team, getting them to a World Cup, it's a fantastic achievement. So congratulations to Scotland on that one. Speaking after the game then, Andy Robertson was speaking about Diogo Jota, and he said, I couldn't get my mate Diogo Jota out of my head today. We've always discussed going to this World Cup. and I know he'll be looking somewhere smiling at me. And this is definitely the most emotional we've seen Robbo be in an interview in a long time. And it is just a stark reminder that, like, Diogo will always be with the players, in terms of, like, he will always be in the back of their minds, especially at this state. Like, it's only been a few months ago, and, like, I don't think we'll ever really understand the impact it's had on the players. Like, it's not an excuse for poor performances, but my God, it must be tough. Like, grief really isn't a linear thing. Like, you could say it's been a few months now. Everyone does tend to get back to life at this point, but, like, they could be fine. You quite not think of them for 3 weeks, and then it hits you like a ton of bricks on a day like this. Like, grief really is one of them things that just comes and goes, and it's not linear whatsoever. So look, it must be tough for the players. Like, every time you kick a football, you're reminded of one of your good friends, and especially around times like this where you're doing stuff like qualifying for the World Cup, which you would have spoke to Diogo a lot about and stuff like that. So yeah, just it's very heartwarming, or heartbreaking even, to see this interview, and my heart goes out to Robbo and the rest of the lads. Like, it's just such a sad situation, and look, it'll never go away fully, but grief does get better as time goes on. But like I said, it will hit the players like a ton of bricks at some points like this, and yeah, it's such a sad situation. Next up, then, we have a report coming out of Italy around the future of Costas Tsimikas, and it says Roma have already lost patience with Costas Tsimikas during his loan spell away from Liverpool this season, with manager Gasperini not convinced at all. It is very likely that the defender returns to Anfield next season and will not sign permanently. And look, it's no surprise, like, he is a decent player, but I don't think he's quite at the level where he'd settle into any team in the world or anything like that. So look, it's not a complete shock to see that he hasn't really settled in, or hasn't really done amazing at Roma. I would expect Liverpool do sell him on permanently then this summer. Unless Robbo leaves. Unless, like, if Robbo signs a contract, then I think Tsimikas is definitely out the door. But yeah, maybe if Robertson leaves, maybe Tsimikas does come back in as backup for Kirkes. But I wouldn't be too happy with that, in all honesty. Like, I'd rather keep Robbo, and I would rather, if he does leave, that we get someone else in to replace Tsimikas and have Kirkes and someone else rather than Tsimikas, because, like, he's a good lad. Like, he always seems a good laugh and stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't really put him on the level of Liverpool's quality, in all fairness. But so yeah, not a shock to see that he's not getting on that well over there. But hopefully he can turn it around, and hopefully he can get a decent move for himself in the future then as well. Just wanted to finish this video then speaking a little bit about Dominic Szoboszlai, and he was doing an interview the other day, and he was asked about his celebration against Ireland. Like, there's been AI images of him going around, like, giving, like, crying tears to the Ireland fans basically, and that's not what happened at all. And even, like, the actual celebration he did with the thumb and the fingers, like, it's just like, people are wondering, like, oh, is he, like, winding up the fans? Like, and he explained it basically that it was a private joke amongst his teammates, and I'd absolutely no doubt that's what it was, in fairness. Like, he's not the type of lad to be winding up the crowd, especially when he had no reason to. Like, the whole witch hunt around him at the minute is crazy, and the amount of people who believe those AI images is absolutely terrifying, because, like, you could tell looking at it. One, he's not the type of player who would do that. Two, why would he be doing it to the Ireland fans when the Ireland fans weren't doing anything to him? And three, it just looked AI generated, and people still fell for it. Maybe it's people want to believe it because that's, ooh, Liverpool bad, and it wants to spread things about Liverpool players, but it's just crazy. And I think the fact he had to come out and explain the celebration is just absolutely stupid. So yeah, stupid one on that. That's all from me this morning anyway. Please do hit the like button before you head out. Hit the subscribe button. I will see you very soon. Thank you very much for watching.